and we're about to look at Adriannah Lee's first amended response to the defendants. And look, guys, most of this stuff is regurgitated. I am just going to give you the TLDR, if you will. Adriannah Lee is suing for emotional distress, defamation, tortious interference with the business relations, and exemplary damages. Fundamentally, Adriannah Lee alleges that defendants utilize their online presence to cause harm and bring disrepute upon her. These are the charges listed, okay? People are like, hey, Henry, you was on her side at first. I was like, yeah, at first I was, but when new information becomes available, if you just stick to your original thing and you don't change your mind based on new information, you as an investigator, you have to evolve with the evidence presented. They're trying to get this shit tossed out on some TCPA, which is kind of like a freedom of speech thing for a public figure. And here's the factual background. Adriannah Lee was touched. She lives in Austin, Texas, and it's a tight-knit community. All right, some of the key events in this lawsuit is the Twitlonger incident, where Adriannah Lee was writing it in Maya Higa. She came over and was like, I don't think you want to write that in Crazy Slick's a great guy, not a gay guy, a great guy. And so she changed her original statement. All right, we are cooking, guys. We are cooking. Basically, her argument, Adriannah Lee's argument is, hey, the court has jurisdiction because what Adriannah Lee says is true and it has to be considered true until proven otherwise. Similar to like a false SA claim, it has to be considered true until, you know, proven otherwise. So in reviewing a plea to the jurisdiction, all evidence favorable of the non-movement should be taken as true, and every reasonable interference taken in favor of the non-movement. So, hey, she said, hey, her story is true. True. Here is how Adriannah Lee is arguing that Mizkif made a clarification, which means defamation to her and her legal team, okay? And it's the text messages that he sent her on July 8th. Hey, sorry about the ish with Slick. Kills me for some reason. I feel responsible because I'm like his father. Sorry. Hope you'll be okay. So this is all like new stuff. These are old text messages, but a new twist to them. All right. I'm going to be real. This is the hardest thing in my life. Like, I'm sorry. I can't lose my best friend, man. I know he diddled you, but I love Crazy Slick, man. I love that guy. He's like my rock. He's my best friend. When I need to change an address for views, he's right there. He zips me up in the back, man. Anyway, I'm being facetious. But this is how this shit goes, right? Like, he texted her this shit and she just was like, all right, cool, thanks. Now I'm gonna use this shit to you know, you know what she's trying to do. You know. Gotta get my bag and run. You know she want that bag. She want that $2 million. Like, she ain't getting that shit, but these are Mizkif text messages to Adriannah Lee. You know, I understand what you're saying, and I want to say I'm extremely sorry about that clip. I hate that is happened with Slick. It makes me sad that he's gone. The limbs in your Twitter feed showed a lot. I've never knew I'm dealing with this, and Slick won't be around anymore. And guys, what I tell you? What do I tell you? I tell you from day one. Never text anything that you do not want to be shared with the world. Okay? And she got like, look, she even got his public statement, you know, where he said, you know, a little while after Slick's misconduct came to light last year, I made some inexcusable statements on an alt stream after some chat messages to me. To Adriannah Lee and all those affected by harassment, I am sorry for those statements. Before further stating that I am sorry to everyone affected by the situation, I made a bad judgment calls based on what I led to believe, and I deeply regret it. I also want to apologize to OTK, our staff, and our partners who put their trust in me every day to represent our organization in the best way I can. Because remember, guys, even though he said, hey, he doesn't act on behalf of the organization, now they're using this statement right here to say everything he does acts on behalf of OTK. I know it's weak. People I still don't see her winning this case, even though if she loses this case, it's because of the defamation thing, which we'll get to. So by his own public apology, Mizkif has indicated his prior defamatory statement made on September 20th was made in a representative capacity of not only himself and his business, but of OTK. You see how it works? Higa similarly posted an apology on September 25th, but Higa is not really the target. Mizkif is the target. And here's her reason for keeping her documents in. As these documents all have been incorporated into the pleadings and are documents constituting and containing the basis of many of Adriannah Lee's claims and causes, they do not violate Rule 59. Rule 59 is saying, hey, you can't put in like new evidence, if you will. And she's like, this shit's relevant. Now, the thing is, everyone has put in new documents. So you're gonna see her not only argue to keep hers in, but by the end of this document, say, I want theirs tossed out. Adriannah Lee look, she wants to keep all her exhibits from getting thrown out. And for me, if I'm the judge, I keep everyone's documents in, okay? But keeping everyone's documents in, it hurts, you can say it hurts both sides, but it gets the judge out of making a unfair or unpopular decision amongst both parties, okay? Like, she's going at Mizkif very hard. Like, he is like, target, like Mizkif. Apparent authority exists when the defendant held an agent or non-agent out as having authority to act on the defendant's behalf, knowingly permitted an agent or non-agent to hold itself out as having authority, or acted with sufficient lack of ordinary care to as to clothe the agent or non-agent with indicia of authority, thereby causing plaintiff to reasonably believe the agent or non-agent had authority to act on the defendant's behalf, and plaintiff justifiably rallied in authority. This is a fancy schmancy way of saying that Mizkif held out as a member of OTK. That's all that says. Like, this is juicy, because in this way, if the judge, takes her argument into consideration, it keeps Mizkif in it, and it also keeps OTK in the lawsuit. So what do you guys think? Does Mizkif represent OTK when he does things, or is he separate from that? Despite literally in every stream is OTK, and he's on the website, and all the OTK sponsored events that he hosts. And look, I admit, I've never even thought of it this way. I'm like, well, I work for my organization, but when I do YouTube, am I representing my organization? The answer is yes. That's why I kind of keep it very PG-13. You'll never see me do anything crazy. And people from my organization, they watch my content. they get a kick out of it. All right, they be cracking the depth jokes and shit. People are like, no, he's OTK, but he's an individual who doesn't make mistakes. But you said yes and no. And that's what the judge is going to have to figure out. Is Mizkif acting on behalf of the organization? Is he? Do you think so? Maybe. It's a tough question, but that's gonna be something that they're gonna have to decide. I even said it. Her defamation claim is the weakest in the lawsuit. That's in my opinion. It's the weakest shit. But her lawyer is about to go through what a defamatory statement is, right? So you remember him on stream, and he's saying it's no big deal, right? And next thing you know, in the grope and sear, those are the defamatory statements. Now let's get to her lawyer is eventually about to break it down. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. You see the red coming up? Red means some good analysis is about to come up. The statements made by Mizkif contain both statements of opinion and of fact. All right, and what they do is they break down his goddamn statement. You give me a dissertation on Mizkif's statement, if you will. They like, oh shit, Mizkif's statement? Yes. what is fact and what is opinion. They break it all the way down for you. So 90% of people, look, I don't think there's a single person we used to hang out with that doesn't hang out with Slick anymore. Fact, okay, unless they doing that shit in secret. Because of what happened, I actually think there's literally none. Fact, no one hangs with Crazy Slick no more. At least not around OTK. Because the reality is, worst comes to worst of it, it's effing like sexual harassment, right? Fact. I mean, like, who gives a F? Like, no one. Of what you can deem of it, it's sexual harassment. Whatever. At a low scale, which is opinion, it's not really a big deal, which is an opinion. I don't think people really give a S or really care, which is an opinion. When people like to think of it, they think he's stuck his, you know what I'm saying, inside of her without her consent. And I'm like, that's what people perceive it as. Fact. Now, you see how they broke it down? You see how I broke it down? All right. Now, let's get into it. All right. We don't have to go through each and every statement, if you will, but in this instance, the context is, this is what they're trying to nail him on. The context is Mizkif communicating with his fans and viewers about what happened to the plaintiff, and throughout the balance of the statement as set forth above, mixing fact with opinion to make statements casting her experience in a false light that degrades her and her character and would implicate that she has not been truly harmed. Now, this statement right here, this is an opinion. So I found this so like odd reading this, and I'm like, I just gave an opinion. So, and I don't know if this is an opinion of her or her lawyer, but you know, that's what it is. But there is a statement that I said from day one was an issue, and if you've been hit with me from day one, you know what that statement is, okay? Now, the second defamatory statement stated that the only time I did not ever want to hang with Adriannah is when we went to 6th Street and she was groping Sear, and it was effing weird, and we stopped hanging out with her, and it was it. Defendants contend that this statement fails to be defamatory since it was only made to a limited audience. And I was like, okay, limited audience, all right. Well, who was that limited audience? It's going to come up, okay? Defendants, a non-public statement such that the plaintiff suffered no defamatory harm, right? Here we go. Defendants tactively seem to agree that the statement will be defamatory per se, but that no damages could have occurred due to the assertion that the statement was non-public that Mizkif made, and the statement was to 5 streamers that he alleged were aligned with him, and therefore, as a matter of law, the statement cannot be defamatory, because you make a defamatory statement, it has to be to a large audience on a third-party platform, and it has to cause damage, and it has to be false. False, okay? False. All right, let's keep going. You're like, well, who was the 5? All right. Now look, this ignores that the statement is only the first ripple in the pond, as it were spreading to the 5 and then beyond as potentially one more act when viewed from the totality of these circumstances. On the actions of all defendants, the conduct as a whole caused damage to Adriannah Lee, since, as evidence shows, the alleged private conference call, remember that call? I told you that shit was gonna come back, with Mizkif was posted online and thereby published widely. Only someone who was on the call and recording it could have taken action to result in publication. Now look, I don't know. Adriannah Lee didn't say she didn't touch him. She said he made him feel weird. Okay? Remember that. Remember that, and remember this statement. And remember that it was only made to 5 people. All right? Let's keep going. Now we're at the intentional infliction of emotional distress. In my opinion, this shit was not extreme, but this is my opinion. I'm sure Adriannah Lee feels deeper. And I just kind of like, I read through all of it, guys. And it's just nothing there. It's nothing there for that, in my opinion. But I am going slow enough, and I am not a lawyer. So if you want to go back through here and watch the stream on mute and pause it and read it for yourself, you're more than welcome. Torturous interference with business relations. I didn't do anything on this. I read it, but she didn't have no business lined up. Okay. The business was not there. Hence, you don't see nothing highlighted. All right. You're like, Jesus, Henry, are you trying to say she doesn't have a case? I'm like, I'm not trying to say she don't have a case, but I'm just saying the business was not there. The fraud, the fraud against Maya Higa. Where are my Higas at? You know what I'm saying? This is another one. Okay, you like, Henry, did she make a false statement or not? All right, guys. The Maya Higa fraud thing is her saying that Crazy Slick is a good guy, and that if Adriannah Lee puts out this huge tweet longer, it's going to blow up in her face. That's the TLDR of this. So you like, Henry, you skipped it? Like, dude, I skipped it. This shit is so weak and circumstantial that you like fraud. And remember, fraud wasn't even in the original complaint. It was added to kind of rope Maya Higa in. And the whole argument is that Higa was working under the guise of Mizkif. All right. Now, objections regarding defendant's motion to dismiss under TCPA. Remember, she's trying to get all their documents thrown out because the lawyer didn't put his birth date. I kid you not. I've showed it. It's clipped. It's on my channel. Go watch the video. And that basically every document that Mizkif lawyer got, they were like, we want it tossed out. And they go on to list basically every document obtained by his lawyer. Kid you not, this is a lawsuit. This is how it goes. And people, I see people like, this is not fraud. Look, that's gonna be for the judge to decide. I didn't think it was fraud, and most of this stuff is just regurgitated. And guys, I only want to hit you with the new stuff. OTK's exhibit of tips out saying that no one runs the organization because, you know, MA, no one knows who MA is. That's why she wants that turned out. The declaration of Mizkif, like it does not require, does not comply with the requirements of an unsworn declaration, which that a first and last name be provided as well as his date of birth. So she's trying to get it tossed out on a date of birth. Okay. MA is Matthew A. One of them is tips out. I don't know his name. I really don't care for his name. You get what it is. The declaration of Austin R. Nimox. I believe this is the lawyer, and the same thing. You didn't comply. No first, no last name, no birth date, and everything that they supply, she wants that thrown out. So you see how both sides wants each other's evidence thrown out, and me, as the person on the sideline who's just watching it, I'm like, everyone's evidence should be put in there. Everything that everyone submitted should be in there. All right, now, argument to dismiss under the TCPA. Remember, I told you, free speech. The TCPA Act exists in order to defend the constitutional rights of persons to petition, speak freely, associate freely, and otherwise participate in government to the maximum extent permitted by law, and at the same time protect the rights of a person to file meritless, lawless, or demonstrable injury. All right? So they're saying we need this shit dismissed because it's practically free speech. All right, now what do you think she's going to say to that? What do you think, guys? What do you think? They're saying, hey, we have the parties exercise of a right of free speech, the right to petition, or the right of association. What do you think she is going to say to that? Why they shouldn't be allowed to dismiss on some free speech stuff? Any ideas? Here's her argument right here. The communications at issue in this case made about Adriannah Lee were not made out of a general purpose public figure. Plaintiff is not a name or celebrity, and they were not made in the context of being a matter of interest to the community or of concern to the online streaming or video game playing community. And I was like, this shit is funny. Everyone's a public figure until what? Until what? Until they want to sue somebody for some goddamn money. You're like, Henry, I thought you were on her side. Look, man, I just got to call this shit how I see it. You a streamer, you make your money online, you're listed on probably numerous accounts as being a public figure or content creator, if you will. You're a public figure. But, you know, she's trying to get out of being a public figure. And one thing she cites is communications made after and in response to the aforesaid disclosure, which we had the effect of shaming and misleading plaintiff. This is the Maya Higa stuff. This misleading shit is all on Maya Higa. Relevantly, the second category addresses the false and misleading statements made by Maya Higa to the plaintiff on July 6. The defamatory statement made by Mizkif that claimed no one cared that the plaintiff's experience and did not matter. In Mizkif's September 23rd, 2022, false statement accusing plaintiff Adriannah Lee of sexual misconduct. I think they're fucking watching me because I called this sexual misconduct. I said it from day one. Was she convicted? Did he say he touched her? And y'all were like, nope. No. And I was like, well, that could be defamatory. I'm just saying. And lo and behold, here it comes. But as you see, the defamation only came from Mizkif, if you will. The statements here are by nature attended from underlined statement that disclosed a criminal allegation. Stated another way, when a victim's status is disclosed, are statements afterward attacking and attempting to diminish her themselves a matter of public concern. Plaintiff has not identified any cases so holding. So like I said, no conviction in someone saying sexual misconduct is bad. Just saying. I'm just saying. But you know, you guys have to be the judge on this, right? And she's saying, like, look at this. She's still arguing. Similarly, finding plaintiff to be a limited purpose public figure, as defendant's attempt requires multiple elements. First, the controversy at issue must be public in the sense that people are discussing and people other than the immediate participants and the controversy are likely to feel the impact of its resolution. Second, Adriannah Lee must have more than a trivial or tangible role in the controversy. And third, the alleged defamation must germane to plaintiff's participation in the controversy. What do you guys think about all this shit, man? Like this whole I'm not a public figure, that caught me off guard. But remember, her lawyer has to say any and everything to paint Adriannah Lee in the most favorable light, as well as Mizkif's and Maya Higa's lawyer. All right, so we're going through all this stuff. You're like, Jesus, Henry, when does it stop? Okay. You know, the mere audience interest in the outcome of the controversy does not appear to satisfy the first element to establish a limited purpose public figure. So they're double downing on this. Hey, she's not a public figure. She's not. That's what she's saying. And look, this is where I call her ass. I'm like, Adriannah, you did all three of these shits. All right, this is where the investigator caught her. You caught her? I'm like, yeah, I caught her. Is OTK or the judge gonna see it? I have no idea. All right. In determining, listen closely, guys. This is where she gets caught up. And you could be the judge. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. In determining the second element for a limited purpose public figure, the plaintiff, Adriannah Lee, must have more than a trivial or tangible role in the controversy, which requires examining 3 sub-elements. And I'm gonna turn these into questions. Did Adriannah Lee seek publicity surrounding the controversy? Yes or no? Did Adriannah Lee have access to the media? Yes or no? Did Adriannah Lee voluntarily engage in activities that necessarily invoke the risk of increased exposure? Come on, guys. And what's the injury to reputation? Okay? Importantly, Adriannah Lee did not seek to make it public the underlying controversy. The assault she suffered was disclosed without her permission by a third party. Here's the thing. She came forward. She came forward. And look, they say, yeah, she went on tour. Exactly. And look at me, right? Here's the thing. I am more familiar with the lore of this now than I was in day one. I said Adriannah Lee did all 3, and I am not buying her argument. And I said, hey, speaking to Destiny, speaking to Hassan, speaking to XQC, like it or not, they may not be CNN or Fox News, but in our world, they are considered media. So, and what do we have to say?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
But you know, you can argue both things, both sides. Let's keep it. Let's keep going. You like, damn, this shit over in like 2 more minutes, guys. So she should have stayed quiet. Yeah, she should have. She should have shut the fuck up, but she couldn't, because when controversy is on the horizon, and we know drama is the biggest view getter in all of YouTube and every channel, when people be like, I hate you, Henry, you a drama tracer. I'm like, I'm teaching y'all about this defamation and how it works, and people can't help themselves. That just is what it is, and we'll get to adept in a second. In short, defendants have not shown that plaintiff's claims are a matter of public concern. Dude, when this shit went out that OTK and Mizkif and crazyslick was diddling, this shit was everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. You might as well say there are probably 1 billion views dedicated. Okay. Yeah, she's a victim. She's definitely a victim. I'm not trying to take her victimhood away from her, but I'm saying there's a difference between being a victim and then being defamed. Just because you're a victim of, being touched does not necessarily mean you're defamed. And that's, for her lawyer and their lawyer to fight about. Okay? Plaintiff has raised 4 causes of action challenged by the defendants. They go over the charges: defamation, infliction of emotional distress, business interference, and fraud. The fraud. All right, and look, guys, I'm just gonna call it how I see it. I'm not rooting for Adriannah or against Adriannah in the same way I'm not rooting for Miz and OTK or rooting against them. I'm just calling it like I see it, and we're gonna get to the 5 friends. Now, look, here's the 5 friends that he spoke to, and you can take this how you want it. Remember, he said, hey, this whole seer thing. So, applying the appropriate standard, the second statement is defamatory per se, as taken in context in light of a larger controversy, when produced in an initial audience consisting of streamers called David Mitch Jones, Asmongold, Trainwreck, XQC, and Barry, appears to accuse the plaintiff of the illegal act. Like, Jesus. XQC, what the fuck? Look, man, he cannot escape these lawsuits. Like, bro, you better not go to Texas ever again. All right, ever again. So if this goes to trial, they all could be called to testify. I explained this before. If it goes to trial and she wants to say, hey, Felix, come testify. Is this your voice? Did you agree that, Adriannah gropes here, shit like that. It's just crazy. I think that may be it. They go back through some stuff. I'm just scanning to make sure. I know it where it ends. Emotional distress is a reach. Okay, all of the defamation is basically on Mizkif. All right, here's a small section to Maya Higa. Higa imposed herself on plaintiff at an emotionally vulnerable time in order to induce plaintiff to act in a way that was intended to denigrate Adriannah Lee's own status. Mizkif, individually indistinguishable from his status as a representative, Mizkif Enterprises and OTK, followed this event by belittling Adriannah Lee's experience and implicitly plaintiff herself. Defendants act the representations and conduct of Higa, the public statements made by Mizkif in his personal and representative capacities. Okay, in the collusion thereby, crazyslick illustrate either an intent to dismiss and denigrate Adriannah Lee or a reckless disregard for the impact those acts would have upon plaintiff. What do you guys think, man? This is torturous business interference. We know she didn't have no business. This is the lawsuit, and we know OTK spent $25,000 on their defense. I wonder how much Adriannah spent on his or hers. Defense matter of law, this is all filler, man. Hey, don't dismiss it, judge. Please don't dismiss it. I need her rent's due. You saw what she was doing.
Your rent's due, motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? I think this is close to the last. I think so. As recited herein, Higa made material misrepresentations to Adriannah Lee at the urging and behest of Mizkif and as ratified by Mizkif. So she's accusing Maya Higa of acting on behalf of Mizkif, if you will. And there's the end. There's the end of it. Hey, I pray that, they're pleased to the Jurisdictional Rule 91, motion to dismiss, and TCPA motion to dismiss, and award plaintiff reasonable attorney fees in responding to the motions. Plaintiff additionally requests such other and further relief to which plaintiff may show itself justly entitled. So that is her response, guys. What did you guys think of Adriannah Lee's response to keep this case going, to keep Mizkif in it, to keep OTK in it, to keep Maya Higa in it? You know who she didn't really argue to keep in it? Crazyslick. Well, we know he don't got no money, so it is what it is. All right, now let's get to Maya Higa's. You know what I'm saying? Maya Higa, she 10 toes down. But what do you guys think of that? You think the lawsuit should go on? You think they should stall it? Do you think Mizkif is going to prevail? Someone said put Slick in jail, free everyone else, and give her no money. You want the bad boys, what you gonna do? Someone said just another money grab. What do you think she's trying to? Gotta get my bag and run. She's trying to get her bag and run. Yeah, he got no cash. It's crazy. It's crazy how you can go from to the highest heights to the lowest lows,